Hello, everybody, and welcome to Skip Allen Paints and the YouTube channel of Skip Allen. Okay, so what we're going to talk about in these next couple of videos, probably it'll be a couple, we're going to talk about the new brushes that I created for Paint Jam 2. So the first thing I need to do is open up an image that we can work on, and I'm going to open up a template. I use templates a lot, and I used them in Paint Jam 2 as well. So I'm going to open up this Sumi, what I call Sumi. It's not really Sumi. It's digital. It's 8x12 Sumi here. Okay. Now that has everything in it that I want. Now I can't give you these templates, but basically all you do is you create a riff file, and this one has a pattern in it that creates the paper. I have a group here that has my signature. Now I don't know that this is really a signature. It's something I got off the net, and supposedly it was supposed to be my name, Skip Allen, and then I created a little chalk up here by painting or doing something that looked like SKIP. Carved into a block, and we're all set to paint with watercolor. Now I'm in my Paint Jam brushes, and I want to go, the first thing I want to do is talk about the fact that some of these brushes are set up to paint with velocity, the opacity set to velocity. So I'm going to go to this one called Damp to Wet Wash. Now these are really, they're kind of like one-stroke brushes, okay? So if I take my my stylus, and I'm using the art pen, I take my color to black, and let's go to the 000 black. And if I just paint a quick little stroke, you'll see that I can create a straight line or a thin line or a fat line. As I paint slowly, it stays dark. If I paint quickly, the paint runs out and you get less opacity as you go down. And that's the way most of these brushes will work. Now let's just delete what's there, and we'll go up here to the very top of the brushes and just talk about them. This first one is Flat Granulated Buildup, and it's really just a soft brush that you can paint lightly with or dark. And when you let go, it's going to give you a bit of granulation and a nice little bit of color there. Now, I like working with, let's take it back to its default, which would be about a 30 radius for the brush size. I like working with black washes. It's kind of like working with ink, maybe. But so these are meant to be brushes that can go easily from light to dark, like that. And they are set up to use an art pen, which means you can rotate your pen and get, a thin line going in that direction, a fat line going in that direction, or any direction that the brush is pointing. Thinner line, fatter line. Thinner line, fatter line, thinner line, thinner line, fatter line, okay? So that's what that's for. Now, these brushes obviously can also paint with color, and they paint beautifully with color, actually. I'm loving using these with regular watercolor now. And see, it won't go quite so black with a color. And look, you can begin to see the granulation and how it gets a little bit of an edge to it. Okay, so the first several brushes are flat build-up brushes. I'm using this paper that came with Painter X3. Karen Bonacker created the paper, and it's a fairly rough paper. And so as I begin to paint with this brush, this particular one, which says flat build-up paper grain, you can see the paper grain coming through with the brush. And then flat granulated cover is like all the rest of them, but in this case, there will not be any paper grain showing. And it doesn't build to black, but it has a really nice watercolor look. Now, what I mean by build to black is if you take one of the ones that say build up and you go dark, the more you go over it, the darker it will get, and it will go to black. If you pick your brush up and go very lightly back over where you've painted, it will actually lighten the color. Like that. Now, if I let go, there you go. See, it builds to black, especially if you come back over the area several times. It will build to black. Now, that's very typical of watercolor. But the one that has cover on it will not. Okay, soft stroke. This is one of those brushes that I use for one-stroke painting, and I would use that with black. So let's clear this. So like that orchid, I would come in here with this soft stroke and make a little bit of a beginning stroke, and then I would do that, and that, something along those lines to create this brush. Now, that was interesting how it broke there. I'm not sure why that happened, but I wouldn't like that to happen. I wouldn't want it to break on me every time. And you know, if I want, I can go over that same line again and have, you know, two tones there. But that's how these brushes are supposed to work. The next few that I'm going to show you anyway. All right, so we had soft stroke. Splatter very wet, soft. That is not like the other brushes. This one is a brush that it's going to be very wet, and if you stay in the same place, you'll get this kind of splattering look that spreads on out. It will pick up the paper texture. It's very nice for adding backgrounds, but if you're working in color, it's really pretty amazing. So if I come in, let's go down the page here. Let's pick up a kind of a green. Let's take this gray-green. And so if I start using this gray-green around here, and I think I need a darker green, so let's go with this blue-green here. Okay, so you can see that I'm putting that blue-green color in, and it just, you know, builds on itself. Well, now if I wanted to come back here and add another color like a red and start going in here, I have to pick the red, skip, okay, start going in here, it's going to eat the green away and begin to add some red to the object. And it's almost like I'm creating a flower with green border or something around it. But anyway, that's the very wet splatter. Now, damp cover, it's a damp brush that's also cover. And you'll get, see how it also goes lighter in opacity with speed. And when I paint, I tend to work fast and with speed with the brush. And that comes from my pottery days. One of the things I didn't get to do was show y'all how, you know, where I came from and why I'm here. or why I'm working the way I work. And a lot of this shows up in my pottery, and I'll try and do that for you sometime later. Okay, I want these videos to only be 10 minutes long. So that was the first set of the first video showing these Paint Jam 2 brushes. All right, talk to you in a minute. Bye-bye.